Kolbrin Bible, Book 6, Book of Morals and Precepts, Chapter 44. Slander. Much of the book is to develop your moral code. Avoid using it to judge others. Kolbrin Bible, Book 6, Book of Morals and Precepts, Chapter 44. Slander. NPR 44:1. The malicious word of the slanderer is like a barbed and poisoned dart, and swifter to destroy than the whirlwind. The slanderer casts down the good works of men with the tempest of his vile breath. His spite undermines the peace of households, and his tongue builds temples of deceit. NPR 44:2. The mouth of a slanderer is like a cesspool, from which nothing comes forth but bad smells. The tongue of the scandalmonger is like a maggot. It spreads rottenness where once all was wholesome. It hatches the filth upon which it feeds. Filth begets filth, and while bewailing its existence, the slanderer and scandalmonger fill their bellies with it. NPR 44:3. The utterances which pour from the mouth of the slanderer are hornets bent on harm and destruction. He is the father of lies, the servant of wickedness. He is the evil ferryman of whom our fathers spoke. NPR 44:4. Cast out the scandalmonger from among you. His thoughts hunt in the midst of dark places, and what he brings forth are the ingredients of mischief and woe. His tongue is the whip that lashes the graceful back of gracious truth. If the water be dirty, can the linen be clean, though washed 10 times over? NPR 44:8. The venom of a serpent remains potent until the beast is dead, but the venom which drips from the tongue of a slanderer persists long after earth has been relieved of its burden. Turn your just wrath upon all men of evil, for there is a limit beyond which forbearance cannot go. He of the spiteful wagging tongue will run from you like a mangy dog before reproof. NPR 44:9. Be warned by the brotherhood of the wagging tongue. Take care to guard yours at all times, for an unguarded tongue runs to loose talk. The tongue of a man filled with potent drink is like a horse with the bit in its teeth. Be on guard when discussing the absent one, lest you do him wrong, for rarely is the absent one in the right. Words that escape our mouth can never be taken back. The scar remains. All of that should instill wisdom, humility in us. Make us think before we act, and if you have any empathy, you will understand the cost might seem to be on one another, even those you can't stand. But someday the pain could be visited on you. The insistence on black and white punishment included is a problem for me. So, for me, I would say this is not wisdom. It has elements of wisdom, but it lacks humility and assumption. The writer seems too rigid to consider how these words could damage others. In short, it's man's law, situational, based on a moment in time and likely an experience the writer just had that has made him, out of anger, write the words that have traveled to us. As it says, venom that drips from a tongue of a slanderer persists long after earth has been relieved of its burden. The verse is very informative. He tells you just where to place these words by showing he lacks the ability to see he is speaking of himself as well as the one that damaged him. If you can twist your perception in humility to see how what you say, the intensity of your words, the insistence that there is no other way to look at things, then you will understand and regret the words spoken or written in anger. History doesn't repeat, but human behavior does. All you need is to be focused on action and discard the words. As it was said in verse 2, the mouth of a slanderer is like a cesspool, from which nothing comes forth but bad smells. I change it to be bad air. It takes air to speak, and clearly this writer failed to understand he was speaking about himself as well.